AUCDII.
Good morning and welcome to finals week of Australian Ultimate Champions Division 2 in sunny old Canberra. We've got Daniel Hellig-Smith here and Maureen Schmidt. And we're here to bring you an absolute cracker of a game. We got Bauhaus Birthday Club coming from Melbourne up against the home team, Factory Fire. Now both teams have a wealth of experience and we expect to see that on the field today. The conditions, we got a little bit of a breeze coming right to left across your screens, but not much to speak of. Both teams with a host of experience, we doubt it will affect the game today. Maureen, what are you expecting to see from this game?
I'm expecting to see a lot of tension. What we know about these teams is that they both have Masters players who have played together, so it'll definitely be interesting to see how they adapt to each other's style of play, knowing each other's style of play.
Dow with the first pull of the game, sent it to Bauhaus right in the middle. They're just about on the brick mark now, and a great break throw. Slicing through that Factory match defense, and they work it up quickly, Bauhaus. She's looking to reset off the line, gets her reset. Looking to swing and move right now, Bauhaus. An unfortunate drop, just slipping out of the right hand.
Just a tad bit too high for that receiver to grab it.
Yeah, Tegan Don with the drop there, and Factory are going to come out on offense. Erin Dow with the disc, swings it up, but it's a bit too high again. Thinks about the bid, but doesn't leave her feet. And Bauhaus moving it quickly on the turn, looking to really attack that end zone. Here you go, Bauhaus swinging it in front of that end zone. Very patient, looking for that shot, and another unfortunate drop. 51, Haley Harris unable to hold on to that disc. Maybe we're seeing a bit of nerves from both teams. Maureen, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that this has already become a bit of a scrappy game, to be honest. We're turning it a lot outside of the end zone that needs to be blocked, and that was an amazing hand block.
A hand block right on the end zone line. That is amazing. Number 26, Wang Fren. Great hand block. And now Bauhaus on offense again. Can they punch it in this time? Looks up the line. And once again, just out of the reach of the receivers. Bauhaus really struggling with that end zone offense, punching it in. And Dow once again going to pick up the disc. Expect her to see a lot of that disc today. She's known for her big, powerful throws in Canberra. We'll see if she can bring that this game. Hind going deep, and she's got it. Great grab, great cut by Hind. Looks back to Dow, looks her off, and swings it back into the middle. Nice safe play. And now Factory have it moving. Big deep shot, and she reads it perfectly. Factory with the first break of the game. Going up 1-0 in the semi-final.
Going into the safe hands of Liz Drummond. Lovely put from Mika Hartley into Sharin Ringland's hands and right into the end zone, looking for that score. What a nice point to start off with. Definitely seeing interesting conditions right now. The wind is swirling a tiny bit. Like Dan said, it's going right to left on your screen, but then it's also coming a bit towards us at the commentator booth, so from the grandstand that you can see towards us. And so that's making a bit of an interesting disc condition, trying to throw it nice and flat. And that could potentially be what Bauhaus was having trouble with, not really reading that wind correctly and putting it a bit too strongly in that wind, and it's just floating just out of reach of those receivers.
We expect them to adjust though. Bauhaus are a Masters team. They've been around the block before. They're telling me before the game there's 618 birthdays on the Bauhaus Birthday Club. So they've definitely got the experience to be able to fight through this wind. But definitely not what they'd wanted. Break down to start the semi-finals. And it's going to give Factory another opportunity to come out on defense. We see Erin Dow with the pull again, I believe. Big pull from Factory.
Does it come back in?
Looks like that one floated out. They're going to have a discussion whether to bring it in on the sideline or at the brick mark. Looks like they're going to bring it up on the sideline. Not a great pull from Factory. They're going to give Bauhaus a real short field to work it in. This is not how they wanted to come out on defense this point. But as we saw before, Bauhaus was struggling to punch it in the end zone. So we'll see if Factory can hold them here.
Looks like Maylin Chua coming in as one of the main handlers on Bauhaus, handling alongside Kath Matthews. Kath Matthews looking for that up the line shot, looking her off.
Safe swing back into the middle, and they're moving it really well now, Bauhaus. Still looking for that end zone and struggling, and we got a pick call.
Pick called. For those of you who don't know, Frisbee, a pick is when a defender for some reason cannot follow their offender, but they're within 3 meters and it has affected the player, or would be affecting their ability to defend. So they just catch up and then they start again.
Just tap back in, swinging again, and another pick. Bauhaus with maybe quite a cluttered offense in the end zone. Maybe all the players wanting to have that first score of the day, first punch of it in.
This might be a very interesting and intense game today, to be honest, Dan. You know, Bauhaus had a really intense game against Rogue yesterday, where Rogue brought it back and Bauhaus just had that win over them with the expertise and disc skills. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens. And a beautiful score into the hands of Maylin Chua.
Yeah, Bauhaus managed to punch that one in. Showed that patience that was missing that last point, and Bauhaus are on the board.
Lovely upline cut into that open pocket where just Bauhaus is really showing their patience and their expertise in terms of being able to clear that nice space, making that nice vertical stack so that there are 2 open cutting lanes, and just using those open lanes and working it in slowly. Yeah,
she was free as a bird there. Bauhaus very content to just swing and move the disc. I was talking to them before the game, asking who their main throwers, main handlers were, and the response was there's so much experience on this Bauhaus team that they don't look to one player. They can all throw the disc. They've all been around the block. So expect to see the disc pass through multiple Bauhaus hands as we're going to get their first look of Bauhaus on defense. We got Claire Hussey with the pull. Hoping for a bit of a better pull than Factory managed to give them. Definitely didn't start them on the right foot for their defensive point last time. Looking at this Factory fire line, I think we've got a bit of mixture between youth and experience. Got some old hands and some up-and-coming Canberra talent. We've got Gonzalez on the line. Expect her to do some big job in the cutting space. McDonald with a one-handed grab off the pull. Unconventional, but she's clearly not feeling the nerves in the final. Sends it to Watson. And Factory have it moving. Gonzalez, as we predicted, the great undercut. Looks to swing it back. Safe set of hands. And a big shot goes up from Factory. Trying to read it under it. There's a lot of plays there, and Bauhaus manages to take it down out of the air. That is a great read. Going Friend with the disc now. She was the one who managed to get up and get the D. She's going to be looking to move this Bauhaus team onwards. Manages to get out of a tight spot, swing it into the middle. And Bauhaus working up the field with ease at the moment. Big break comes around. And once again, Bauhaus trying to be a bit more patient than we've seen them before. Oh, and the swing just misses the hands. Got a great bid from Bauhaus there, leaving her feet to try to secure the disc, but it was just out of her reach. Wind maybe playing a little bit of the factor, pushing the disc down a bit more than they thought. And Watson's back on the disc for Factory. Got a play going deep, looks her off, hits the under, nice and safe choice.
Hope Watson going for the disc again, putting it deep with a nice round, beautifully into the hands.
Not quite in yet. McDonald's going up the line, they're going to give it to her. And McDonald with the goal. Oh, she is chuffed with that one. You can see that, the long frame of McDonald managing to get free up the line and secure the first point for the Factory O-line.
Heather McDonald definitely has some length on her.
Yeah.
Definitely a very tall receiver. Definitely some really safe hands.
Factory using her length to maybe get around the marks. She's one of the main handlers of this team. But yeah, we saw her using her cutting prowess there to get up the line and get the goal.
Going onto the line again, we have Erin Dowell looking to take up the pull. We've got some fresh faces on as well. Holly Harford-Smith representing the under-24 Stingrays this year at Heidelberg in June, July. She definitely loves to get her shirt dirty, so we can definitely expect to see some great bids from her. She'll leave her feet like no tomorrow for that disc.
Yeah, Factory showing off a bit of the depth in their D-line, bringing out some very fresh-looking lines, but definitely keeping some experienced heads on there. We expect Erin Dow to see pretty much every D point. And yeah, this Bauhaus O-line is looking to respond. The pull coming up from Dow now. It's a nice big pull. It's much better to see from Factory. Bauhaus centers the disc.
Maylin Shaw again, one of their main handlers for Bauhaus. Factory putting on a zone.
Bauhaus managing to slice through that Factory zone, exploiting all the holes and gaps. So maybe a dangerous option for Factory, given the experience of Bauhaus, and they look to put it deep. That is a great goal. Safe two-handed clap catch in the back corner of the end zone. That was some really nice looking offense from Bauhaus. What did you see that point, Marine?
I saw that the Factory zone was very, very strong. However, it looked like occasionally a hole was made, and maybe there was a miscommunication error between the teammates, which just meant that a hole was made, and Bauhaus, with their expertise, with their ability to quickly see those, just took advantage of it and just worked it up. And a zone defense, really, really efficient in the wind, really effective at shutting down disc movement. However, when it's broken, it's really hard to get on top of it. I think the best thing I can teach is that a zone is most efficient when it's still.
I think we saw a few Factory players maybe a bit too keen to get the block, maybe going in a bit too far from their zone, leaving their positions, trying to bait and get those blocks. Didn't pay off for Factory that time.
Leaving that wing nice and open for Bauhaus to just put it through and just continually swing it. One thing I will say that I've noticed about Bauhaus is that they love using the full width of the field. It looks like Factory occasionally just likes to play more through the middle, play it safe, allowing for that wind to carry the disc, whereas Bauhaus really likes to swing it back and forth through the field and use every single inch of the field.
Yeah, Huang Friend with the pull there. Nice looking pull, and they center it to Watson. Swinging it out to the far side of the field now, Factory. And back to Watson again. She's doing a huge amount of work for this Factory O-line. Great high flick, and just get over the Bauhaus player. McDonald looking up the line, not going to put it to her. Back to Watson. Watson with a lovely break. Straight up the line, nice high grab, and right into the end zone. Factory punching it in with speed. Like a knife through hot butter, that Factory O-line. Really showing how to get it done for the semi-final. It's a big game, but I don't think we're seeing the nerves from either teams really coming out.
No, not really. We're definitely seeing a lot of patience on both sides. I think that's just comes down to the maturity that we have on both teams. You know, we have a lot of young blood on the Factory Fire team, and you know, me personally, I would know that because I scrim against them as part of the Factory Club, and then a lot of experience as well on the Factory Club. And we see that experience likewise replicated in the Bauhaus Club.
Yeah, Bauhaus, a Masters team. A fun little wrinkle to this game is that a lot of the more experienced women have played together on the 2016 Masters women's team for Australia. So we'll have some of the Factory Fire women knowing some of the Bauhaus women and vice versa. There's maybe a fun little wrinkle, matching up against some old teammates, knowing what they like, what they want to do. So expect that to come into play later in the game.
Factory D-line coming on now.
Yeah, it looks like Factory's putting out a really strong line, wanting to grab themselves another break. All we have in it so far, one break to Factory, and a big pull comes up. It looks like it's floating, heading towards the sideline. And it's just out. That's going to be a brick.
Bring it in to the middle of the field, a third of the way down, the brick mark. X marks the spot on the field.
Yeah, number 5, Maylin Trow, bringing the disc to the brick mark. And we look like we have a Factory zone coming out. Looks like they're coming out in an arrowhead formation. 3 players in an arrow around the disc. We've got 2 wings, a center and a deep. And Bauhaus looking to move it quickly. Don't want to let that stall count get up. Don't want to let that zone get set. Want to keep moving and working them, making those women of the zone really nice and tired. He's waiting for those gaps to open up. And they slice through the middle there. And Factory is now playing catch-up. And Trow moving the disc swiftly up the field. They swing out to the sideline now, showing a bit of patience. Oh, and Trow just drops the disc. It just pops out of her hands. Maybe a little bit of a bobble. Wind playing tricks on these Bauhaus players at the moment. And we got the Factory D-line. The chance to punch in another break. There's going to be a challenge. The wind is really picking up now. Rachel Joyce, the Terra under-20s player, looking to help move her team forward, and just overshoots Holly Halford-Smith out of the reach. And the disc hits the turf. And Bauhaus are going to come out again. Looks like Factory is shooing that zone, coming out in some person defense. Forcing towards that sideline, forcing that flick. And we got Bauhaus streaming up the line, but there's some great handler defense there on Chow. They swing it out now, wide open player. Oh, we have a call on the play. There could have been a reason that play was so wide open. Oh, I think we have an injury call, unfortunately. Injury call, Sharon Ringland heading off. Hopefully we get to see her back in the game. It's a big loss for Factory. The players just figuring out where the disc should come back in. Tap back in, and Bauhaus are moving it swiftly, using that break side to great effect right now. Shoot a great shot up, showing some patience towards the end zone.
Factory really need to try contain this right now. Unfortunately not able to get around that, and Bauhaus put it right into the end zone.
Yeah, number 3, Kath Matthews with the goal there. And that was some really nice offense on the turn from Bauhaus. Heap of experience on this team, and they know how to use that break side. They seem to really enjoy swinging it out there and getting some great movement. Using their experienced heads, experienced hands to maybe outthink these young Factory legs.
It is early days, but we are seeing a lot of trading of points. It's currently 3s. Earlier, it went 1s and 2s, now 3s. It'll definitely be a tight game. It'll be a true test of grit and grinding it out on both sides.
Yeah, only 1 break in this game so far. Very exciting for the semi-final. This was slated as a bit of a cracker. A lot of the people expecting these two teams to see each other in the final rather than the semi-final. And I think we're going to see that here. Both teams wanting to give it their all. Not let their seasons end in a loss. And the pull floating just out of bounds. That was a big pull from Bauhaus, but they just couldn't keep it in. The wind, as we said, coming in this direction and pushing that pull just out. We got Carrie Flynn bringing the disc in.
Bauhaus setting up in a sandwich D. So it is a form of match defense, but at first, from the first 2 or 3 throws, you sandwich up and it looks a bit like a zone. So for people who haven't come across it, you have a bit of an issue. However, this team does have 2 players from Great Britain who did teach this to the Factory team, so no problem breaking that and getting the disc moving. Yeah,
it's looked like Bauhaus isn't dropping out of this zone look. They're staying in it for the moment. From the Factory, a little bit of trouble, but they get it moving now. They swing it back.
Into the hands of Bridget.
Swinging out to that far sideline. They're swinging into the middle now. Watson using every inch of her experience. Is content to swing it at the moment, Factory. Back and forth between their handlers. Waiting for the shots to open up. Watson doing a huge amount of work, and a big shot comes up. Is she going to be able to read it? No, it just drifts out. Oh, Bauhaus are going to be pleased with that. Bit of rush of blood to the head for Factory there. And now they're going to come out on defense. Number 22, Bridget Brown, unable to toe the line there. Disc drifted just a bit too far for her. And Factory putting a lot of pressure downfield in Bauhaus, but they get it moving, they get it swinging.
Bauhaus opting for the 2-handed catch, the clap catch or the pancake catch, a really safe option when it comes to this type of wind.
Yeah, I think we've seen some disc bobbling already, and Bauhaus aren't going to let it happen. Big fake from Bauhaus, but she decides not to send it. She really wound that one up.
Bridget Brown getting a sniff on that D, not quite able to get to it.
Yeah, we've got some Australian visors passing in between each other on Bauhaus at the moment, showing the wealth of national experience on this team, or international experience, should I say. Many of these women, as we said, representing the Australian Women's Masters team. Oh, and tries to use that break side, but the throw is just behind her. Very uncharacteristic turnover for Bauhaus there. Maybe just try to force that break throw a little bit too hard.
Sharon Tran putting a lot of pressure on that D, or Shaz as she's commonly known to her friends and teammates.
And Watson, looks like she passed it straight to the Bauhaus player. And Bauhaus, once again, using that fast turn to move it quickly, and it slips out of their hands. Number 22, Claire Hussey, unable to hold on to it.
Factory needs to show some patience now. just really work it. They've got really good connections, especially between their older and their newer players, which can be hard to do with people who've never played before together.
And McDonald coming back into that handler space, using that long reach to get out that break. Nice looks. Donald free in the middle. We have a call.
Travel called by Bauhaus on Bridget Brown. There seems to be a disagreement.
Yeah, it looks like the Bauhaus player is saying she maybe lifted up that pivot foot while looking for a throw. Definitely a thing to mention about this Bauhaus team is they had a very controversial quarterfinal matchup against Rogue. That quarterfinal resulting in a spirit timeout called against Bauhaus. And there's a lot of contact in that game, a lot of travel calls. Big throw comes up from Factory. Gonzalez trying to read it. Great snag by Gonzalez. Shoots into the end zone. It's a risky throw, but it pays off for Factory.
Into the hands of Sharon Tran. Angeline Gonzalez, young talent, up and coming, has been playing for a while, has represented Australian under-20s in Terror Campaign 2018. Looking at potentially going into the under-24s in the next year or so, whenever it comes up next.
Yeah, one of the smallest women on the field, but Factory unafraid to use her deep. A product of the ANU Ultimate Club, Angeline Gonzalez there, showing every inch of the development that the ANU Ultimate Club brings and the talent that is developing out of Canberra. We see that on this Factory Fire team. Factory able to bring 3 women's teams this year, a lot of them with a lot of young up-and-coming players. And it's a big focus of Canberra Ultimate has been to develop the youth.
Speaking of, I have recently heard a slight little rumor that Factory Ultimate are looking at making an under-18s team to bring to Div 2 Nationals next year, looking at developing those younger players that, you know, we commonly see at League in Canberra, but a lot of those younger players that start in high school who want a bit of a step up from high school Ultimate but don't know where to go. Factory looking to offer that development opportunity to those younger women, which is amazing to see in Ultimate in Australia. Yeah,
imagine them playing this Bauhaus team, bit of yin and yang. 618 birthdays on this Bauhaus team. Imagine what that would look like against an under-18s team. Be a true experience versus the youth there. And we've got the pull coming up. Centered to number 15, Joy Lee. She's done quite a bit of handling work so far. Showing some great patience and a nice breakthrough there. And moving it once again up the break side, Bauhaus. Really like using it. A big shot comes up, but it's not going to be caught. It's just drifting out of the reach of those 2 Bauhaus players streaming along.
Anita Beck putting a lot of pressure on that Bauhaus receiver, really sticking to her hip, not letting her get any distance.
Yeah, it was a good box out. And we've got Dow bringing the disc up. He's going to look to move this offense. The Factory defensive offense has maybe struggled a little bit so far. They managed to punch in that first break, but have struggled since. It's good to see Ringland's back on the field.
Liz Drummond offering that deep reset. What a run through block.
Yeah, Joy Lee carrying her team through. It was a clutch defensive block, showing off that foot speed. They may be a Masters team, but they sure know how to run, Bauhaus. They've got many kilometers left in those legs. Nice inside break.
It's right outside the end zone.
Oh, not quite in yet either. And Bauhaus looking to show a bit of patience.
A lot of communication coming from that mark from Liz Drummond. It goes right outside the end zone, and it goes in. Just running along that end zone line, towing it in.
And Lee with a dish in the end zone to Huang Fren. It's a great goal by Bauhaus, managing to chip it around until those options opened up. That's where you definitely see the experienced teams try not to punch it in too quickly, content to just swing, look around, use their dump throws. But Factory managing to hold them outside that end zone for quite a while there. You can definitely see the pressure building for both teams. Maybe still feeling each other out slightly, but we're expecting it to lock down very, very shortly. Marine, what do you reckon we're going to see from Factory coming out now?
I reckon we'll see a lot of punchy unders looking to get that quick movement. And if we get someone like Angie Gonzalez or Sharon Tran giving that deep option, we've got handlers on the Factory line that will not shy away from punting it to the end zone. Bauhaus will definitely be showing a lot more calm and expertise looking at working it down, and they're running it down very, very hard right now.
Yeah, Bauhaus getting down in that pull chase, not allowing McDonald to center it. So McDonald tasked with getting the pull and centering it to some of the other handlers, but Watson gets the disc now. Watson free as a bird. That's an interesting tactic from Bauhaus. Watson probably one of the most experienced, best throwers on this field. You don't want to give her an inch of space. Watson with the disc now, looking to Stevenson. Stevenson bursts up the line. Great show of pace there from Lucy Stevenson. The Factory unable to move it off the line. Just as I say that, they hit Watson in the middle, looking for that break. It's McDonald. McDonald looking to use that wingspan to break her mark. Decides against it, back to Watson. Watson looking for some cuts downfield. Not much opening up for Factory at the moment. Content to hit it back to Stevenson. Watson and Stevenson just playing catch at the moment. They look up to Gonzalez, but it's just behind her. Finally got that cut coming, but Watson unable to find her. Bridget Brown centering the disc. They look back to Brown. Oh, very close by Factory there. A bit of a dangerous throw. Brown able to read it. It hits the center. That's where Bauhaus want it. They want to use their break throws and open up. Great bid. Oh, leaving her feet. And Bauhaus have it moving. To be a break for Bauhaus if they can punch this in. And Bauhaus managing to punch it into the end zone. Number 37, Quinette Armstrong with an amazing bid that point and secures herself the goal. It's a big point from Armstrong. And that's it. Bauhaus have the break back. The momentum swinging and shifting in this game. Factory calling a timeout.
Factory having a lot of two very experienced coaches right now. We've got Chris Stevens and they have Max Stenstrom. Chris having coached a couple very experienced high-end teams. Max Stenstrom currently the assistant coach of the Under-24s Goannas team for Australia, the men's team. Definitely showing a lot of versatility in his coaching experience.
Oh, we see the big bid there from Bauhaus on the replay. And they punch in the end zone. Once again, using those high release break throws, managing to slice and dice through that Factory defense. Definitely interestingly, we've seen Factory maybe give up on that zone look. It wasn't getting them much success even in this wind. Bauhaus maybe had that layer of experience. They've seen a zone or a few in their time. And so Factory maybe looking to use their athleticism and their legs to win this game rather than their zones.
There's quite a bit more height disparity between Factory than there is between Bauhaus. Bauhaus all seeming to be relatively the same height, so they are all able to know what type of throws they need to throw in order to get it right to the chest, right to that safe spot. Whereas Factory, you've got the height disparity between people like Angeline Gonzalez and then Heather McDonald, where, you know, shortest person in the team, highest person in the team. It's quite the difference. It's quite a range of adaptability that they have, but sometimes in a rash throw, you might not adapt as quickly as you want to.
Yeah, Gonzalez maybe one of the shortest people in this tournament, but looking over this Bauhaus team, they do have a lot of height on that team. But we haven't seen them shoot it deep too often. Bauhaus are very, very happy to use that break side, is what we see mostly from them at the moment. How do you characterize the Factory offense?
The Factory offense, it depends on who has the disc, to be honest with you, Dan. Sometimes it can be very fast and rushed, but it pays off, and then other times it can be really patient. The one thing I know about Factory Fire is that they aim to control the tempo, but sometimes with their lack of experience overall compared to Bauhaus, that can come off quite rushed and not necessarily pay off as much as it could usually against younger teams.
Yeah, Fire maybe using that deep space a little bit more than we've seen Bauhaus. Using their athletic cutters to try to get open there and their experienced throws to put it up to him. Now coming out from this timeout, we'll have to see how Factory responds.
Have we seen a layout yet from Factory?
Not sure we've seen any Factory players leave their feet yet. Definitely seen some big bids from Bauhaus. Especially Armstrong, unafraid to leave her feet. We expect many more big bids from her, rocking that Australia cap. letting everyone know about her experience on the field.
It's a power play right there.
Here you go, Bauhaus with the pull. The factory coaches trying to rally their team. Give them the tactics and the enthusiasm needed to punch in this offensive point.
Maylin coming up with the pull. Nice flat floaty pull, allowing the Bauhaus defense to get down there and try and interrupt that first throw.
Oh, that is a beautiful pull. Bauhaus managing to get down. Shoot deep. But it's not going to pay off. Stevenson with a big huck, but a bit of a low pile driver there. Not quite sure who she was looking for.
Bauhaus setting up in a vertical stack, once again offering up those two open cutting lanes, the open side and the break side, with Factory forcing a bit of an up-front force, now turning to only give them that flick option.
Yeah, Trial gets the disc moving. Grand on the mark.
Bauhaus seeming to play a bit more of a physical game, not afraid to push and shove a tiny bit on when trying to get free in that space. But you know,
big shot goes deep to Tra.
Pick called. Did it affect the game? Did it affect the throw? Hope Watson talking about it now.
Yeah, Marinas, we've seen, as you were saying, there is a lot of physicality coming from this Bauhaus team. Rogue definitely were unimpressed with it yesterday, calling that Spirit timeout. Gave Bauhaus a 5 in Spirit yesterday. Not a score we want to see at the national level.
Especially not when the average score is around 10.
Try with the disc now. Oh, looks a beautiful inside throw. Slicing and dicing through that defense. And Jamie with the goal there.
Bringing the scores up to 4-6.
And Bauhaus defense getting the job done. They were building that pressure and didn't see too many turns, but they've been absolutely clinical on their offense. Marine, how can Factory bounce back?
It's a good question. I'm seeing a lot of rushing. Factory thus far have been an undefeated team, so maybe this is getting to their heads a bit, that they are down compared to this very experienced team. They might need to reset their mental space, take some time to reset and think about what team connections they have and how to best exploit those, compared to the Bauhaus team, who are adapting very, very well, showing their expertise and their knowledge, adapting to this different style of play and shutting down everything that Factory tries.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that. Both teams coming into this game undefeated on the weekend, and both knowing that this is going to be their toughest matchup by far. We see Factory maybe switching up their line a little bit, taking that O-line off for the first time we've seen for an offensive point, putting their traditional D-line on. The defensive line going to come out on offense, show us what they've got.
Huang Fren coming up with the pull, putting up a lovely inside-out pull.
Big pull, that is a ripper.
Right to the center of the field.
Got Dow centering the disc, they're going to look straight back to Dow. She's got a full range of throws as she shows that off, she hits Hine. We've got Halford Smith streaking deep, Hine doesn't want it.
Factory looking more at those safer options, getting it back to Dowell. Dowell not afraid to put it up.
Oh, big crossfield flick.
Looking for Joyce or Harford Smith. Joyce finds the disc and brings it down.
Oh, Joyce managed to read that perfectly, showing off the hops there. Rachel Joyce in the end zone for the score. And Factory managing to halt that little bit of a run Bauhaus were getting on. I believe Bauhaus got 3 points in a row, so Factory managing to halt that, swing the momentum back.
Factory and Bauhaus definitely showing that they're both willing to get into a bit of an aerial contest, looking at that vertical leap and challenging each other, saying who's going to get it.
Yeah, looking at the replay now, we see that beautiful flick put up by Dow. It's a throw not many players would even dream about, let alone execute like that. And Joyce in the end zone.
Huang Fren trying to go through with the swipe, but just misses it.
Yeah, safe air of hands. Factory had a few under that one. But Joyce, the one to take control, take it down.
Dowell bringing it down with the pull. Getting a final little coaching session from Chris Stevens.
Yeah, Chris Stevens doing a lot of coaching with this Factory club in the past few years. Very experienced head.
You look at the factory O-line compared to the factory D-line, and their O-line has a lot more experienced players on it than the D-line. Maybe willing to be a bit smarter about the way that they work it.
Using athleticism, it hits the cone, and they're going to have a discussion here. It's a beautiful looking pull, but I do believe that that is a brick. I do believe that was probably going to touch the line if the cone wasn't there. But yeah, a little bit of confusion on the sideline. It's very rare to see a pull that knocks the cone like that.
As you know, Dan, within the confines of the field, the lines are considered as out. So as soon as the disc hits the line or the outside of the line, then the disc is a turn, or in the case of a pull, it becomes a brick.
Yeah.
Factory coming out with a zone here again, looking again like an arrowhead, maybe one of the family favorites. But Bauhaus just punching it through that middle, working it through that handler space.
Yeah, they got 4 people around the disc, putting a lot of pressure on the middle, really not wanting Bauhaus to move it in there. But Bauhaus, away to the races at the moment, moving it very quickly. Did struggle with this look originally, but seem to have adjusted to it, playing their nice, safe, offensive game. Lovely low release there. And they're punching it through the middle. That's not where Factory wants it. Armstrong swings it out, but there seems to be a bit of a miscommunication. Hempel leaving her feet, but
Throws out behind her receiver, but unfortunately the receiver did not see that coming, and she tries to leave her feet. Not quite what was needed at that time.
Dow taking it on the end zone. Big shot up to Hind. Can she get there? But just one too many Weet-Bix there for Dow.
One too many tournament days there for Kat Hind.
Yeah, that's a connection we expect to see a lot from this D-line. Dow to Hind. Hind, one of the best receivers. And Dow with all the throws in the toolbox. Bash fakes a big hammer, gets a mark to look around. It's a lovely looking fake. Armstrong with the disc now. Swings it up. Risky throw, but they managed to hold on and punch it through that middle.
Zone struggling to keep up. Mika Hartley on the mark.
Bauhaus with a great range of throws. All their players have all that experience playing Ultimate for so many years, so all of them can come back in this zone. All of them can handle. All of them can put it. Makes it very hard. Can't just crank down on one person. Armstrong again, slicing and dicing through the middle.
Bauhaus communicating a lot on the field. Factory a bit quiet, to be honest.
Yeah, swing it back to Hussey. She's done a lot of the handling work for this, and it bounces off the hands. Again, Jamie unable to secure that grab. Maybe trying to move it that little bit too quickly. And now Factory running and gunning on that turn. Oh, it's a big shot put up for Dow. Sam Joyce trying to chase it, but she's not going to make it there.
You can definitely see the tournament and the amount of games and the amount of running these women have been doing taking a toll on their playing and the way that they play. You know, Joyce usually would have been able to get that, you know, after 7, 8 games. It takes a toll on your muscles, especially days after days.
Yeah, Dow definitely looking to put it on the turn. Unafraid to shoot deep. Maybe.
Factory not wanting them to get it out of this end zone. Maybe looking for the Callahan.
Yeah, the pressure is building on these Bauhaus handlers. Hussey put under a lot of pressure, but she manages to swing it out, and they cut through the middle there. Big throw coming up from Hussey. Dow's under it though, manages to box out and body. Dow showing off her experience there. May not be the tallest person on the team, giving up a few inches in height, but she been around the block, very experienced, has the throws, but also knows how to use her body to patrol that deep space. Great handler cut there.
Also very, very quick, very explosive in her speed, able to get free. Bauhaus has a sniff at that, but Shreen able to hold on through to Mika Hartley, back through to Erin Dow.
And Dow's going to put it again.
And Joyce got it this time, leaves her feet. Oh, unfortunately not able to quite make it, but has a really good sniff at that. Maybe gets a touch on it. Let's look at the replay.
Look at this huge bid from Rachel Joyce, giving everything for her team, full extension, but disc just out of reach. Another big shot from Dow, not quite coming off. I wonder if she'll have to rein those in. Big bid again, tumbling over. Amy Hempel leaving her feet here. And you can see what this game means to all of these women. Not afraid to leave their feet, not afraid to make big plays, big bids. Just with Hind now, swing it safely out to Ringland. Thinks about the huck, turns it off. Swinging it safely now, Factory. Oh, we got a pick called.
Mika Hartley and Erin Dowell handling together. Great connection, great experience. We've just received information that the Sugar Mags are up 7-3 in the other semis. It's going to be an interesting, both these semis looking for the women. The women really want to win this to go to the finals.
Yeah, Sugar Magnolias from Newcastle up against Wollongong Surge. And another shot from Factory, not connecting in that end zone. Factory really playing a hucking game this point. Not sure if it is quite working for them, relying on this Bauhaus team to turn it over once again. Marine, do you reckon Factory needs to pull in those deep throws a little bit?
I reckon that they're looking a bit trigger happy at the moment, and they are very much so able to work it in. Factory have a lot of experienced handlers, and they can work it in. Might be a bit more effort, but it could be better than running the receivers into the ground every time that they huck it.
And now Bauhaus have moved it quickly down the field. The zone from Factory maybe looking a little bit of a tired. This has been a grind of a point. It's been a big, big point. So this is the first tournament of the day, but both teams have played quite a few games already this tournament. As we said, they are undefeated. Pretty much all their games reaching score cap, showing the quality that these women are bringing to this Div 2 tournament. Big swing comes out. And Bauhaus very close to the end zone now, just looking to punch it in. Dow sticks out the right hand.
Slams it to the floor, says, no thank you, not today.
Not in Dow's house. Bauhaus weren't going to punch into the end zone without her having another say. Dow really carrying this Factory team through. Gives Kind a bit of a hug, says thank you for catching that one.
Also, let's notice that the Joyce sisters are on the field. Sam and Rachel, great connections. Have played on the 22s together for Canberra ACT.
Just as you see that, we see Rachel Joyce hitting Sam Joyce. That's just a connection paying off for Factory. Rachel with the disc now, an experienced handler despite her age.
Factory
Swinging out to
needing
Ringland.
Clear their gameplay a bit more. It's looking a bit messy downfield. There's a couple people everywhere. Kat Hind pushes off her hat, goes into the end zone, catches it in the end zone. That's a goal. That is the end of one long point.
Oh, that Dow-Hind connection working wonders for Factory. Dow finally makes one of those big, deep shots connect. And Hind, she did a lot of work that point. And she's down on her knees at the moment, looking pretty exhausted. They're going to need a big game from her. Factory are going to come out. But that was a majestic shot from Dow. Really showing off the throws there. We can see Hind looking a little tired, but she must be chuffed with herself. That was a great point. Very, very long point.
Hind having to pick up her hat now. That came off with the speed at which she ran.
And we can see here Dow saw Hind in the deep space.
Off comes the hat.
Said thank you very much, right into the breadbasket.
The Bauhaus defender not quite able to keep up with that speed. She is one speedy gal, that girl.
In Factory, that hucking game may be working off. Each time they hucked it, they forced Bauhaus to work it down the rest of the field through that stifling zone. We have seen this game, Bauhaus struggling to maybe punch it in given their experience, punch it in towards that end zone. We've seen a lot of turnovers from Bauhaus right near that end zone. So maybe a slight difference in this game, but we're coming out tied. I believe we're now back on serve for this game. So you couldn't have asked for a tighter, more exciting final right here, semi-final. Great.
The Factory women definitely looking like they're getting a bit tired. They have 16 women on their team compared to the 18 of Bauhaus. Definitely looking to run a bit more. I've been corrected by a Bauhaus player. 17, sorry, one player less.
Yeah, 17 players, 17 kids on this Bauhaus team. One
for each player. We'll have to talk with them at half, whenever half comes around, about why they're called the Birthday Bauhaus Club, the Bauhaus Birthday Club. And that around, looking a bit too small, coming down a bit bladey, coming down and hitting the ground.
Yeah, we can see 71. Tegan Don just turfing that flick. Going up into the wind. That is a hard throw, especially through this zone. But the factory zone, they've stuck with it and it's doing wonders now.
Lucy Stevenson handling there, looking for Hope Watson, but a pick is called. Hope Watson free as a bird. Probably ran through the stack.
Figuring out where they were. A pick can only be called when you're within 3 meters of the person that you're trying to guard.
But Bauhaus being really spirited, not just sitting on their hip, but allowing them to be that distance away.
Stevenson swinging it to Dow. We can expect Stevenson Dow to have a big point. Dow with the hammer fake. Stevenson bursting up that line, using every inch of that speed to get free. Right on the end zone now, Factory. This would be a huge point if they can punch in the break. Watson coming up the line, and that's a point to Factory.
Showing those old connections, showing those women who have played on Factory together before, who have been on the Masters team together before, and really just showing those connections, showing that they are willing to work it through and just grind it out. Timeout called by Bauhaus.
Yeah, there's a lot of international experience on that Factory line just then. A lot of those women having played for Australia, and they were content to work it between them. Bauhaus maybe looking a bit demoralized. Few heads going down. Few of the women looking quite tired.
Well, Dan, they were up by 2 points, and now Factory has flipped that score, brought it back, and brought it one more.
We can see here Watson bursting up the line. Stevens had said, I'm not going to look that off. Thank you very much, Hope. And Hope maybe providing a fair bit of hope for her team.
You're proud of that, aren't you?
Oh, not really. Not my best. But I'll take it. First punt of the day out of the way. That's all right. Yeah, it's been a game of runs so far. We saw Bauhaus. Well, we saw Factory coming out with the first break of the game, and then Bauhaus going on a bit of a run, and Factory bringing it back, forcing Bauhaus to call their own timeout here. Trying to halt Factory's momentum in this game. 7-6 at the moment. Factory are up, just edging ahead.
Bauhaus having a big group chat. Factory having a leadership and strat chat, whilst the rest of the team has a drink and relaxes a bit, maybe resets their mental space, celebrates a bit, and gets back into it.
Yeah, got the Bauhaus Birthday Club with the happy birthday chant. Product of the Bauhaus Ultimate Scene. Asked them before the game, why are you a Bauhaus Birthday Club? And they just said, well, there's a lot of birthdays on this team, and who doesn't like birthdays? It's a great response, bring out those party cake shorts as well. Great bit of merchandise there, the party emoji on the back of their shirts. So maybe bringing both the experience, the fire, but also a bit of the party, a bit of the fun from these women.
Speaking of, did you head off to the Downstairs Moose unofficial party last night, Dan?
I did not head off to the Downstairs Moose party. I've seen those sticky floors of Moose maybe once too many times in my life. I decided to leave it to those people outside of Canberra to live the true experience of the institution that is Bottom Moose.
Coming up with the pull. Aaron Dowell pulling it nicely into the center, nearly hitting that brick mark spot on.
Lee centering the disc now to Hussey. Hussey and Lee doing a lot of this handling work, really trying to break through this Factory zone. Very tight at the moment, putting a lot of pressure. There are calls to play conservatively from the Factory coaches. And it pays off for them. Bauhaus managing to shoot it through the middle, but no one was there.
Bauhaus scrambling now to pick up players. Lovely put to Liz Drummond.
Yeah, Drummond with a big high grab. Every inch of her frame to grab that one.
Going through Anita Beck. Back to Mika Hartley. Swings to Dowell. Right outside the end zone, looking for that bigger round into Sam Joyce's hands, and finds her.
Dowell to Joyce, and Factory take half. 8-6. A huge comeback from Factory Fire here. Bouncing back and managing to capture some huge points. And they managed to take half over Bauhaus. Bauhaus looking a bit shaken. The 1-2 punch from Factory there. Some very smooth offense on the turn.
Some very big smiles on the Factory side of things.
Oh, they're pleased just punch with that one. You can see that the high fives all coming around. Bauhaus looking to lift themselves. They're going to need a big second half.
Got a couple of young supporters that we can see on the Factory side of things. The youngest supporter, I believe, being 7 months old, being the Factory favorite puppy called Maple.
Oh, we can see the big shot from Dow hitting Sam Joyce there. Free as a bird on that break side. There's another visionary look from Dow. She's racking up the assist sheet.
We've just received some updates from scores around the grounds currently happening at the competition. In the men's, we have Fishwick going up against Crank. Fishwick up 11-2. We have Chile going up against Extinction, up 11-3. We have Adelaide against Bronze, down 6-8. In the women's, however, Rogue and Sublime are versing it off. Sublime currently on 6, Rogue on 5. Sugar Mags are still holding it up strong on 8 compared to the Wollongong 4. And the Dinos versus Tempest, Tempest being up 9-1. It'll definitely be an interesting workaround to figure out who places where. It's looking like it's going to be a close one today. Sugar Mags holding their own against Wollongong. Might we see a Sugar Mags versus Bauhaus or Factory final?
Yeah, don't go anywhere. It's going to be a very tight game. We expect Bauhaus to bring out a huge second half. So stay on the stream. We'll be with you soon.
See you soon. And we're back, ready for the second half of this really tense Bauhaus vs Factory Fire game. We've got a lot of experience on the Bauhaus side of things. We've got a lot of mix of old and new, experience and young on the Factory Fire side of things.
Yeah, this is Maureen Schmidt and Daniel Hellig-Smith bringing you this semi-final. Factory up 8-6 and receiving the disc on offense. So definitely have the upper hand coming into the second half. We don't think Bauhaus are going to let it up without a fight, and we're seeing that big pull rundown. And Bauhaus bringing out a zone for maybe the first time this game. Very low disc from McDonald. And Watson unable to scoot that off the ground. Very early turn for Factory. That is not what they wanted out of this half.
Especially around 15 meters outside of their end zone.
They're going Friend picking up the disc. Going to swing it off. Factory looking to clamp down on defense. Looking for that swing off that sideline. That's where they want to move it. Big hammer comes up. And Bauhaus are under it. Oh, that was a bit of a bailout hammer there, but it pays off. Big play from Bauhaus. That's how they wanted to come out of half. Wow, in a bit of a tight spot, but has the hammer to get her out of it.
They come out firing after going down in the half, bringing it back to 8-7. It'll definitely be a really interesting half, a really tense half, with both teams wanting to make it through to the final, wanting to fight with every single thing that they've got to make it to there, to try be able to get a bit of extra silver or gold in their trophy cabinet.
Yeah, a few relieved smiles on the Bauhaus team after that shot paid off. You can see it here. Wow, putting up that big hammer, and it drops just down perfectly. Anna Cousins with the goal there.
Big smile from Anna Cousins. Relieved that she grabbed that despite it being quite blady. Claire Hussey coming up with the pull from Bauhaus. What type of defense do you think that they might come down with, given that the wind has started to settle down a bit?
I think they're going to have to stick with that zone look. Paid the absolute dividends last point, giving up that short field turnover. Claire Hussey with a big pull. Bauhaus pumping those arms to get down as quickly as they can, put the pressure on right from the off. Watson with the disc. And again, we see a zone, swings out to McDonald. Big fakes from McDonald. She's looking to get it back in the middle, but can't quite see an opening. Bauhaus playing crushing defense, but McDonald, a visionary high backhand across the field, using every inch width of this field. A big shot goes up. Stevenson with the huge sky. Going up with one hand. Over the player, gives her a bit of a hug. Those women may have played on a team before.
I'm just waiting for that replay because that was absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
It also looked like that zone was a zone, but they were also trying to assassinate Erin Dowell, not letting her get the disc, but she gets it nonetheless, puts it up.
You can see
Nice
why
and
with
beautiful.
throws like that. Stevenson dunking. Getting up with one hand, huge over the Bauhaus player.
Little celebration, no bad blood between these experienced players.
Once again, we see Dow given free rein to put up those beautiful looking hawks. And Stevenson all smiles after that grab, just as she should be.
Joy Lee having a big swipe at it, but not quite able to get underneath it. Dow staying on, looking to come up with that pull.
Yeah, Dow seeing a lot of miles in this game. The Factory coaches really trusting her to put in the work.
Well, Erin Dowell did run a pulling clinic for all of the Factory women who wanted to learn how to pull better, and we can definitely see why. She is a master at pulling.
So he launches that one downfield. Send her to Tra. She's having a big game as well. Got Kath Matthews moving it with Tra. Those short throws, they've got it past that Factory cup. They're moving it really quickly. Factory struggling to recover their zone. They may have said it now. They're swinging it through the middle, looking to use the width of the field, but it's not quite on.
Factory able to finally shut it down, stick on them, not allow them to move it too much. They don't mind those lateral movements, it's more the deep movements. Mika Hartley on the mark, forcing them towards the sideline, forcing them to the low side of the field.
Trois looking to give and go at the moment. They're getting a lot of success with that, but still unable to punch it in. That's what Bauhaus have struggled with this game, punching it in the end zone. So they're going to try to be as patient as they possibly can. Big hammer fake. After the last point, Factory may have thought that was coming up. Licht with the disc now.
Just outside the end zone, looking to punch it in. They're right on the corner. Will they trap it? Factory looking to trap that, not allowing them to swing it through the middle.
Swings out to Matthews, back to Trois, back to Matthews. Hits Licht. Factory absolutely piling on the pressure. 4 people around the disc there. Trois wide open in the end zone. Dow can't make up the distance. Bauhaus showing off the experience and the patience there.
What we see right there is that a zone puts a lot of people around the disc, puts a lot of pressure on the people with the disc, but sometimes it leaves a couple people just open and waiting for the disc to come right into their hands, and it'll find them. Especially a team like Bauhaus, with the amount of experience they have, the amount of connections they have. They've got a really interesting communication system, which I've noticed is whenever they're free, they just put a hand up in the air, just saying, hey, I'm open, chuck it here.
Yeah, it's always good to communicate when you've got as much space as Trois did there. We can see the Factory zone really piling on that fourth side, hoping that break doesn't come out, but as soon as it did, it was game over for Factory at that point. You can see Licht, nice and patient.
3 Factory defenders trying to get on that disc. Maybe a bit of a beat taken to consider what is going on, but that was a lovely swing to the open side.
That may be the key to beating this Factory zone. Keep that disc moving, keep that disc swinging.
Beautiful patience from Mei-Lin Chua, who is also the team captain for the Bauhaus Birthday Club. The pull coming up from Bauhaus, going into the safe hands of Heather McDonald, working it through Hope Watson.
Hussey with the pull again. Watson swinging it out. Bauhaus coming down in their own zone. Big shot comes up to Watson. Evades all the Bauhaus defenders. That is a visionary look.
Finds Angie Gonzalez in the middle. Looking to dump it. Give themselves a bit more space. Just dump and swing all day long.
Big grab from Stevenson.
Safe hands is what we've learned about her today. Definitely some really amazing grabs out of the air. One hand just swipes it, and it just sticky fingers is what it is.
And Stevenson to Watson for the goal.
Bringing it to 8-10.
8-10, yeah, Factory still with the advantage. Bauhaus are going to have to bring out all the tricks in the book to get back in it. See here, Gonzalez very happy to dump it back.
There's a Factory rule that I remember clearly at trainings when scrimming against this Factory Fire team, is that they are encouraged to dump on stall 3 or 4. Dump it early, get it moving really quickly. Makes it really hard for the defense to keep up.
Why wouldn't you? And you throw it to players like Stevenson showing off the windmill grab. Bauhaus really needing to respond here. They did not want to go down another break. It would put them in a really precarious position.
Liz Drummond and Kat Hine back on the line for Factory, along with Erin Dowell and Holly Harford-Smith. We've got Ringland as well on the line, visible with her bright orange-pink hat. Dowell coming up with the pull.
It's definitely a good fashion statement from Ringland there. Dowell as well rocking the visor. A lot of the women in this game rocking the visor look.
Quick movement from Bauhaus, quick handler movement, getting it through.
Oh, fakes the big look. Hits under. There's ill-advised. We've got to run through D. That's a great play by Factory, and they're looking to move it quickly. Dow's with the disc. That's who they want on it. Dow looks at that big hawk, chooses no. Factory with a safe pair of hands as 2 Bauhaus players come in for that disc. Hammer goes up. 2 huge bids. And in and out of the hands of Harford-Smith.
Harford-Smith definitely showing us that she is willing to get her shirt dirty. First layout from the day for her. She'll definitely be chuffed with that.
Big shot coming up. And just gets a hand on it, but that is a very tough grab to make. Great athleticism from both players bidding for that one. All the players on the field right now know how important this point is. Neither wants to give them an inch. And Armstrong, in that give and go motion, hits up the line. There's a few players there. Chua gonna put up the big huck. DeHal's under it though. An amazing grab from Bauhaus. Jessica Mumford bailing her team out there.
Hands go up on the Bauhaus side of things. Celebration for this 1 point that they've gotten again, that they've worked so hard to get.
Big 2 hands there from Mumford. She wasn't gonna let that one slip out. Dow was sniffing for the D, but Mumford said, not in my house. So you see a great throw from Armstrong. Moves it to Tra. Big throw coming up. They saw that break side shot open.
Dow able to get under it, goes up, has a sniff at it, but like we know in Ultimate, if the O gets hands to it, it's the O's disc.
Yeah, Mumford with 2 strong hands. Great read by her.
Both women go up, and she gets a sniff to it. Unfortunately, isn't able to knock it out of the air before the Bauhaus receiver gets it.
Yeah, you can see how close Dow got with the disc. Very hard disc to read when it's coming over your head like that for both players. They're both very experienced. They know how to read a disc. Huge pull coming up from Bauhaus. McDonald, once again, safe pair of hands, sends it to Watson.
This is looking very zony, looking a bit like a clamp or an arrowhead. We're not too sure.
Throw comes up to Stevenson in acres of space. That is a great throw. Slicing and dicing that zone. And now Factory haven't moved and they've moved past the cup. Stevenson doing a lot of work for this Factory O-line.
Into the hands of Brown.
Brown back to Stevenson. Swings out into the center of the field. Hits McDonald. There's a lot of space in this Bauhaus zone. They're really going to need to clamp down. Stop Factory just punching this one in. Beautiful inside shot to Watson.
Watson looking to swing it. Factory willing to swing and dump. And they find Tran in the end zone. Shaz, as she commonly known to her friends, having a lot of fun, just open in space.
Oh, big smiles from McDonald and Tran there. They know how important that point was. And that was just a beautiful O point from Factory. Slicing and dicing through that zone. Bauhaus just didn't have a response.
Bauhaus Birthday Club making their way quickly to the line. Willing to work it up, willing to get on the line quickly, to get the game going. But as you just see, just Tran just open in space. No one around her. Defenders on left and right, but just no one near her.
Yeah,
standing in a field.
Absolute paddock of space there. McDonald nice and patient on the disc, waiting for those throws to open up.
Definitely some great patience seen on behalf of Factory, and definitely a lot of quick movement, smart choices made.
Yeah, we can see the Factory coach, Max Stenstrom, rocking those Jez Barron socks, helping to support some under-24s players for their campaign, and they're a stylish option. Looking great.
Also rocking those women's booty shorts. Not shying away from the women's kit. Finding it quite comfortable, he told me. I couldn't agree more. Bauhaus moving it quickly through their 2 handlers. Looking for Juanfren. Anita putting on a very strong mark. No big. Straight up.
Yeah, straight up marks from this Factory team. Oh, big bid there. Maybe
Hartley.
Yeah, maybe a little bit gratuitous, but putting the pressure on nonetheless. And now Factory putting on the force flick at the moment.
Juanfren pointing to where she wants her teammates to go, where she wants options, looking for that around.
Big swing to Tra. She's at a big game and puts up the huge huck, but it's just out of reach.
That was right near the back left corner of that end zone. Would have been a lovely layout opportunity. Unfortunately, didn't happen.
Yeah, maybe just out of the reach of Hempel there. She was running hard, pumping those legs, but Chua maybe just overreaching with that huck. And Factory coming out on offense. This would be a huge momentum swing if they can punch it in. And the far sidelines, that factory foul sidelines knows how important this is.
Firing up, getting loud.
There we go. Are you proud of that one?
We've got a first cut from Ringland, looking to create that movement, looking to swing it to that break side, getting it to Hartley. Looking for Halford Smith, but it just gets a run-through block by Juan Friend.
Yeah, a bit behind Halford Smith, unable to read it and come back before the Bauhaus players verge on that space. We've got a pick call. Play seems to have stopped, so it's going to come back.
Some celebrations going on there on the far field that we can hear through the mic.
Yeah, those Hoss boys with the plane celebrations.
Bit of a talk going on downfield here in this game between Bauhaus and Factory.
Maybe trying to figure out what stall it's coming in on. Big throw from Quang Frank straight away. Trial's underneath that.
Like we said earlier, Trial leading the team as their captain, but the team Bauhaus Birthday Club did tell us earlier that there is no designated handler or cutter or role. Everyone has the experience, everyone has the shots, and they all trust each other. The Bauhaus closing that point difference, now looking at 11-10 in the favor of Factory.
Yeah, Factory in a strong position, but really all Bauhaus needs is one more break to have this game tied up. And they're looking to put on a very strong D-line right now, Bauhaus.
Hussey coming up with the pull.
Yeah, we've seen Hussey absolutely launch some beautiful pulls, allowing her Bauhaus team to set up really nicely. Seen another big one here. You can see Quang Friend putting up that disc. And she knew where Chua was going. And Chua with the hop and the skip. She was pleased as punch with that one. McDonald centering the disc to Watson. Bit of a low throw, but Watson managing to secure it. Hits Stevenson. McDonald coming back. They don't want her. Stevenson in a bit of a spot. Forced to just put it up. But Brown under it. Reads it perfectly. Grab over Hussey. You jumped a little bit too early. Brown on the doorstep of the end zone. Breakthrow, but Watson wasn't there. A bit of a miscommunication between them. Watson was coming back into the stack. Big
celebration on the Bauhaus sidelines. Really happy with that pressure, allowing them to get the disc. The one thing we know about the Bauhaus team is that they really treasure the possession of the disc, and they are wanting to take those high percentage shots. And so as soon as they get possession, they will work to keep it. And they will work with all the shots that they have, both the long throws and the insides and the breaks.
Yeah, Brown poaching off into that lane, stopping that break throw, but they managed to swing it out to Hussey.
Working well to contain that on Brown's side of things. Hussey getting the disc either way.
Big bid. Tony Ann Cousins unafraid to leave her feet, but she can't make it. That disc just pushed just out of reach. You know, have a look at that bid here. Trying to put a bit of touch on that throw, but Cousins unable to get there.
Good layout form though.
Big bit of contact on that mark. Watson unimpressed, an uncontested foul. Coming in on one. You see a big body coming in there. Armstrong unafraid to use her physicality. But nice spirited discussion, and the play resumes nice and quick.
Swinging it to the middle.
It's Watson again. Armstrong getting sniff on that block. Unable to quite get there. Watson looking for Stevenson. Stevenson comes back for the dump. Hits Watson again. Using that give and go motion between them. They played together before, and Stevenson bursting up the line. Stevenson's athleticism has been crucial this game, and hits Gonzalez. Angeline Gonzalez.
Little pocket rocket. Call potentially made. No call made. It's a goal.
No call. Call's retracted. Bauhaus showing that they've maybe learned their lessons from that road game. It's been a very spirited game from both teams so far. And these big high pressure moments, that's really, really good to see from both teams. Gonzalez are willing to have that discussion, but running off very pleased at the moment now. She knows that that's a crucial point for her team.
Gonzalez, little pocket rocket, a mix of pure just muscle and speed and agility. Despite her small stature, which she jokes about a lot, she is still a threat when it comes to the field, showing, despite her young years, a lot of experience and ability in catching and receiving, as well as handling the disc, as well as seeing space that is threatening and working her way into it. Her teammates definitely congratulating her on the sideline. This might be the first pull from Anita Beck for this game. Pulling downwind, wind now coming right to left on your screen. It's changed a tiny bit. More of a upfield, downfield than a side wind. Fire looking to put on a really strong line. The Joy sisters are back on.
Beck with a bit of a rolly blading pull. Swings it around, but Bauhaus able to center it quite quickly, put himself into a strong position. Davis centering it back to Lee. Lee back to Davis. They're working up the sideline now into the middle. And Bren leaving her feet.
Getting a hand underneath that, keeping the disc off the ground, keeping possession. Once again, putting everything on the line to keep it.
Yeah, it may have been a bit more of a lay down than a lay out, but Rachel Joyce reading that scuba look.
Able to just push it out of the way, making sure that Hua doesn't get it.
Yeah, Joyce reading that one like a book, getting that all-important block for her team. Sam Joyce cutting hard. Don't look to her. Kahan come back into the handler space. It's pick call. Disc centered back.
Mika Hartley also rocking a gold visor, showing that experience. Quite a hard person to match up on in my experience.
Big shot goes up. Looking for Beck. There's a lot of Bauhaus players in that area managing to safely shepherd it out. Maybe an ill-advised throw. Factory in a strong position to just work it there. And Lee taking her time to bring the disc back in, allowing her Bauhaus team to assess this factory zone look.
Putting a loose cup on from Factory, stopping those around shots, putting enough pressure to cause a turn.
Miscommunication and the run and gun from Factory. And Ringland with the goal.
Factory showing that they are willing to quickly turn and work, willing to take those risk options, those risky options, but when they pay off, it's golden.
Yeah, Bauhaus, that's a heartbreaking point for them. They were looking really good working it through that zone, but a miscommunication as Lee was coming up the line causes that turnover. We can see it here, Lee swung it out. And Davis looking back for Lee, but Lee already coming up the line, slips over trying to get it. And from there, Factory off to the races. Sam Joyce into Ringland. And Ringland with a bit of a hop and a skip. She's so happy with that one.
Big smile on her face.
Yeah, she knows that one's a crucial point for her team. Fire now up by 3. The Bauhaus not going to give this game up without a fight.
13-10, Factory's favor. Anita Beck once again coming up with the pull.
Another big outside in pull from Beck. That one's just going to stay in. Offsides are called against Factory. Maybe a bit too eager to get down, put that pressure on by this Fire D line, and they're going to have to walk it back.
Let's hope they don't do it again, or that would be a mega brick. Big disadvantage if that were to happen to Factory. Quite easy for Bauhaus to put it to, sorry, not Bauhaus. Birthday Club to put it in.
And Beck going to put up the pull again. Factory going to have to watch their feet this time, make sure they don't step over that line a bit prematurely. Got game advisors on this game. It's crucial in helping us call those offsides. Oh, that pull just drifting out.
Factory sideline celebrating the no offside on that second rundown. Bauhaus showing their experience and their adherence to the spirit rules. Factory coming down in a zone look.
Yeah, this looks like a high pressure zone from Factory once again, putting a lot of players right near that disc.
Joyce sisters on again, Hartley on the mark. Ringland in the middle of that cup, looking to force Bauhaus backwards, but Bauhaus are able to just put it through a little hole and work it up.
And they're moving it quickly now, Bauhaus, trying to tire out this Factory cup. The Factory, they've got it trapped again on the sideline. That's where they want them to be. And Hussey manages to swing it out. And Jemmy with the disc now. It's getting a bit stagnant for Bauhaus. Really dwelling on the disc a little bit, giving their handlers time to try work it through, but it's pushing them back. And that's what Factory wanted. Rachel Joyce flashing in that lane, putting off that throw.
And Ringland again looking for that up line, just open in an acre of a paddock. Just chilling, relaxing, saying, hi, I'm open, I want to get my stats up. That's 2 in a row for Ringland.
Yeah, Ringland with the double, bit of a quick fist bump. Letting us all know how happy she is with that. And that Factory zone really putting on that pressure for Bauhaus. We can see it here. Rachel Joyce able to flash in that lane, putting off that Bauhaus player. And those heads really dropped after that turn. And slightly slow in D.
Bauhaus tried to get a sniff at it. They try to get a run-through block. Unfortunately, a bit too slow for that quick disc movement.
Yeah, and Hartley wasting no time hitting Ringland. And this is looking like a really good position for Factory right now. This is where they want to be, up by 4, only needing 1 point to take this game.
Ringland showing her experience in seeing the space that is dangerous on the field and seeing where the disc is going to go. She's on again this line, along with the Joyce sisters, Holly Harford-Smith, Anita Beck, Liz Drummond, and Kat Hind.
Yeah, we can see on the Bauhaus, Lee looking to rally her team, looking to push them on in this game.
The sideline of Factory firing up, getting ready to communicate.
Big pull from Beck.
The wind has changed a bit again.
Troy sends it to Lee. She's got Halford-Smith falling over in the middle of the field.
But quick to get back on her feet.
Helping right back up.
The Factory zone trying to just push them backwards, not allowing that over the head, goes in.
Lee with a lovely scuba there, getting it through to Armstrong.
Just a little sniff from Joyce.
Troy.
And enough pressure from the Factory zone to cause a turnover around the brick mark of the Factory end zone.
There's a nice look from Troy, but Armstrong just popping out of the hands, unable to secure that grab.
Beck picking up, handling with Joyce.
Joyce has got a backhand on her. She's looking for it. It's a great run through D from Troy, keeping her team in the game.
Liz Drummond getting ready. Already on the mark.
Hussey putting up a big hammer. Acres of space there. Sits beautifully. That's a visionary throw. And they're moving it quickly now. Disc in the hands of Troy. Hits Armstrong. Through to Lee.
Has Factory learned from the last time that they were in this spot? Will they rally enough people around the disc?
Lee trying to be patient. Puts up the scuba.
What a beautiful scuba right into the receiver's hands. Getting it into the space.
Yeah, hitting Cousins. One gloved hand. She wasn't going to drop that scuba. And Lee really showing off the throws that point. Using those scubas to get Bauhaus out of some tough situations through that Factory zone and Factory defense.
Bauhaus Birthday Club showing us that they're not going to give up without a fight. That they are going to fight through this whole game and not give up until the very last point is scored, either by them or by Factory Fire.
You can see this here, store count getting high, and Lee looks over. Says, thank you very much, I'll put up that scuba.
And despite there being a factory defender right in that space, Scuba still comes off.
Very
Cat
nice
Hind
throw.
not going up for it, unfortunately. Maybe feeling a bit tired after the days.
Yeah, Lee looking to lift her team.
Bauhaus definitely showing the effects of positive energy, keeping their heads up, keeping fired up. The sideline getting loud, getting around their players.
And Bauhaus really going to need to bring it this D point. Their season is on the line right here. Good pull to start him off. Watson centering it to Dow.
Bit of a high throw, but able to keep onto it.
It's Stevenson. Big shot from Stevenson. Brown's chasing it. Richards going after it, but she's unable to get there. It's a nice looking throw and a left hand from Stevenson, but Brown unable to get there in the end.
A bit too big. Factory seeming to stick to match.
Big shot
Putting it
comes up
up.
from Hussey. Stevenson's under it, but so's Chua. Reading it. And Chua managing to secure it with that outstretched grab. So Dis was trailing off. This is huge for Bauhaus if they can punch this in. Hammer comes up from Chua. Oh, that hammer was a bit of a bladey look. Didn't sit quite nicely and bouncing off the hands of that Bauhaus player. Now Chua will come to rule this throw. Through this throw, it just bounces off the hands of the receiver.
Hope Watson picking up the disc, bringing it in. Handling with Erin Dow, looking for an upline cut.
Huge
Unfortunately,
pressure.
can't quite make it. Great pressure from the Bauhaus defender, turning it near the factory end zone.
Licht with a big hand block there on Watson. She knows how important that is. She knows how important that play is going to be.
You can just see the focus on the Bauhaus faces. They are not taking this lightly. They are holding onto this disc.
And Hussey swinging it off the sideline quickly. They want to move it to that break side. Want to give themselves some space to hit those break throws. Big bid from Dow on the mark. Dow putting her body on the line for this point. Going for in with the disc now. Bit of a chat about what's happening. It looks like an injury call to Watson. That is not what Factory want to be seeing.
Hope Watson, one of their main handlers, seems to have done something to her wrist.
She's been huge this game, Watson.
Anita Beck coming on, replacing Watson.
Some concern from the Factory players.
Concern from the Factory coach.
It's like Watson maybe just jarred that wrist. Hopefully we'll see her on the field soon. Going Frun with the disc now. Big shot goes up. She saw Licht in the end zone. Licht getting up, but misreading that disc.
Anita Beck getting straight into defense mode and just hustling onto that disc and applying enough pressure to dissuade Licht.
Yeah, Licht tried with the right, tried with the left, but wasn't able to secure it with either. We've got McDonald bringing it up to that end zone. Dow's in that dominator set. And she is really dominating this game with a big huck going up. There's two under it. Brown and Gonzalez.
Foul called.
We got Hussey going up big, gets a big hand to it, but there is a foul called.
Let's see if we get a replay on that.
We've got the Factory coach, Max Stenstrom, coming over to the booth to have a look. You see Hussey going up. Hussey going up big.
Max Stenstrom's comment saying verticality, that was the defender going over the top, putting a bit of hands on the shoulders, pushing her down.
And we got 22 on 22. It did look like Hussey maybe put up that hand on Brown's shoulder there.
Comes off as a contested foul. Goes back to the thrower, goes back to Dowell.
Yeah, unable to see how much that affected the play, but contested foul, bringing the disc back.
Coming in on stall count 3. Bauhaus definitely showing their true grit, not wanting to allow this shot. unfortunately now apply enough pressure, and there's a fumble.
Yeah, unfortunate drop from Stevenson there. She's been having such a solid game, but can't secure that throw. Bigger round coming out. Oh, and cleaned up in the end by Baker. Not sure that throw was intended for her, but she read it well.
Great backup. Anita Beck putting on pressure.
And a shot coming on. Baker with a huge bid. Tumbling and diving for the score. That is a huge point for Bauhaus. They said we're not out of it yet.
Factory definitely now feeling the pressure. That's 2 points that they have lost in a row, bringing the score to 14-12.
Baker cleans up the disc, and a bit of a give and go straight up that line. They look for her, and just a huge bid as we watch her leave her feet here.
Bit of a tumble, more than a layout, but it gets the job done. She has had a massive end to that point right there. Cleaning up, providing the backup for a throw that probably wasn't meant for her, but then going for the layout bid, the tumble bid, and scoring that and bringing it up to 14-12, which is essential and crucial for her team, especially if they want to try and make it to the finals against Factory Fire, which are proving, despite their young age overall, that they are a team to be reckoned with.
That's definitely true. Bauhaus not letting their season go without a fight. But a very successful season up to this point, doing very well at their regional tournament, even beating the illustrious Ellipsis women's team. Getting one up over them, but their season is on the line now. It's Factory Fire looking to punch this game in, bring it to an end. They don't want a nervy end to this game.
No, they definitely do not. After this game, either way, they will have a break and be able to regain their strength before the finals, with whether that be the 3-4 playoff or the 1-2 playoff.
This time it will be crucial. You can also see on the sidelines, it looks like Fishwick Unit is warming up. Looks like they may have come out over Crank. They're ready to play in their semi-final. And this is it, both teams going to the line. This is crucial for both of them.
Factory Fire seeming to have put on and selected a strong line rather than go for their regular O and D lines. We've got some faces together that we haven't seen before on the line. And Bauhaus definitely putting on a very strong line as well, looking to recreate that win over the Ellipsis women, the first win that anyone has had over Ellipsis women in Australia.
And Hope Watson back on the field as well after that injury. It's good to see her back on. In fact, we're really going to need her this point. Wing Friend putting up a pull. That one's going to drift towards the far sideline.
Will they take it from the sideline? Will they take it from the brick mark?
Bit of discussion, where did it go out?
It looks like Factory Women will be taking it from the sideline, taking advantage of every single meter of space that they have been given with that pull. That came off a bit short by a Bauhaus woman who you'd expect to have really, really solid pulls, given that they are a Masters team.
And the disc is in the hands of Dow. She has been known to put it this game. Let's see if she is chilly this point. Fakes the big hammer and up that backhand goes. Looking to Stevenson. That's who they want. And Stevenson toes it in. Takes a huge grab over Hussey. Oh, gets the high five. Gets lifted up by some Bauhaus players. That's some amazing spirit we're seeing there. Those players know each other. But Stevenson with the amazing grab secures the win for Factory Fire, and they are going through to the finals.
What a wonderful, wonderful tense game, showing a lot of mastery on both sides of the field. What does this mean for Bauhaus? Bauhaus will be going into the 3-4 playoffs. What a strong team as well. Very, very strong. Factory Fire going into the finals 1-2 against either Sugar Mags or Wollongong. Like you said earlier, Dan, this game definitely was one that we thought would be seen in the finals and not now. We're just seeing that replay now. And what control to keep the feet toeing the line, keeping inside those confines, and just working it in.
Yeah, we can see A Dowell to Stevenson look, working well for Factory all game, and it pays off for them once again, securing their berth to the finals. But really, both teams can hold their head high after that game. It's really a game of runs, with Factory managing to just take it out at the end. But yeah, Bauhaus must be pleased with all the pressure they put on, especially towards the end there. And Factory, home ground advantage, moving them through to the final. It's been a hugely exciting game.
It'll definitely be interesting. Factory definitely securing that they'll have some silverware in the cabinet today, whether that's a gold or a silver. And Bauhaus looking to work hard in their next game to finalize some silverware.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with you soon to bring you the men's semi-finals. We've got Fishwick Unit warming up at the moment. We'll see who they're playing soon. It's been Marine Schmidt and Daniel Hellick-Smith. It's been a pleasure to be with you, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
AUCDII.